The month of September has not been very kind for Vechain. Now, guys, today we're going to be diving into the world of Vechain, specifically talking about the price action of VET in this technical analysis. Now, I am in the hotel room in London after the Cardano summit, so I will try to keep this one nice and brief just to get you guys up to date with what's been going on with Vechain in the last 24 hours or so. If you find this video useful and informative, then you know what to do. Hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with this said done out of the way, let's dive right down into this technical analysis on Vechain. We're going to keep it nice and brief, guys. We're going to just start with the daily chart here. We'll skip the weekly one. The structure's still fine, and what we are going to be talking about right now is what's going on with this daily chart and the hourly chart. So we can obviously start with what's going on most recently. Okay, so we can obviously just start with a little bit of a brief history on this daily, and pretty much since we peaked up here back in, I think it was April time for 2021, right? So Vechain peaked up here about 28 cent, okay, and then we started to see a pullback. We can see that this is an area that kind of bottomed out pretty much right away back in May. We came close to kind of going lower, but failed and basically kept those higher lows. We then had a good surge to the upside. Okay, this takes us from an oversold area to an overbought area just here, if I can draw a line. And again, this is something that we were overbought for quite some time as we were riding this wave to the upside. We then had this natural correction, this sideways trade just here, where we were basically just heading down into the oversold area. Then we had a good surge to the upside, and this is where things started to take a turn. Bitcoin's manipulation and FUD that went out there, and basically on the 7th of September tried to pull us down. We got pulled down into some pretty key areas for Vechain. We traded sideways here and a little bit of a recovery on the bounce, and then we were pulled back down. We had started to surge back up, and then obviously we started to get pulled back down again with more FUD from China. Okay, so we obviously saw regurgitation of old news, recirculating in the mainstream media, adding more fear to the space. Ultimately, you know, these people who are manipulating the space, these whales, these institutions, they're looking to try to shake out retail investors, not just from Vechain, but mainly Bitcoin, and affecting the entire space as a whole. What they're trying to do is basically get your crypto out of your pocket and into theirs. And by manipulating market and get it at a discounted rate, you'll sell it cheaper or potentially at a loss. And another part of this, of course, is using leverage, right? Because if you're using leverage, you're going to potentially get liquidated either in short or long positions. And the institutions are able to push the needle in either direction, depending which bucket has the most amount of money in it. So if they're shorters, then obviously they're going to put the Bitcoin price go long, and you'll see a surge to the upside. This was what happened back when you saw Bitcoin actually reach lower than 28k. Everyone thought it was going to 20, and as a result, it actually went up because that's where everyone was shorting it, and people were getting absolutely wrecked and liquidated. Likewise, if people are going long, that's what we saw over here, then of course shorting or bringing Bitcoin's price down liquidates all those long positions, and again, all the money tends to flow into those institutions and whales. So we have to be understanding what's going on from a macro point of view. Obviously, with Bitcoin leading the pack and the way that Vechain is kind of mirroring what is going on there, we have been able to buy up Vechain at a discounted rate. Okay, so this is a bit of an opportunity ahead of where we are going. We aren't going into a bear market. We are getting good progress, and we are still looking to target this area here, get above the 786, which would be 23.1 cent. Getting that close candle there really will surge us onto that next level. Now, things for Vechain will go absolutely nuts towards the end of the year, and this is something that we talk about when we look at Bitcoin's chart, what Bitcoin is predicting. But it also is another pattern on here that's also worth acknowledging, a cup and handle kind of pattern. Now, this cup and handle allows us to understand that we could be surging to the upside in a really good way in the month of October. Okay, so if I actually go grab a Fibonacci retracement tool and I throw this on to Vechain just here, and we can actually take a look at where this thing is looking likely to actually go. This is actually going to take us to 22.1, I think that is, or 22.1 cent. Okay, so that would be the kind of point, the target point for this surge to the upside, which would take us right into that 786 zone on the Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so when it comes to those kind of surges, October is going to be a pretty good month for Vechain, getting us into this key area just here. This is where we're targeting. Ideally we'd like to just push past that, pull back, retest it as a support line and push on. But if not, we'll go to that initial surge, pull back maybe to the 618, really consolidate inside this area before moving up to the upside. Overall, we are still talking about moving Vechain up from its current position of 8.7 cent up to the dollar level. The 4.3 𝗕𝗓𝗪 area on the Fibonacci does come in at $1.01. And again, this is based on the performance that we've seen so far, okay? And that performance is basically the peak up here and obviously the low down this end. This performance is indicating $1. Okay, it's not just a number that's plucked out of thin air. It is a number that is based on the mathematics of the high and the low within this range. The current performance from May through to the end of May, beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May. That performance is what is indicating to us that the potential for Vechain here is $1.01. So overall, everything's looking pretty good for Vechain, and I do think we are going to be moving up nicely to that. But until then, until October, we should be preparing ourselves for some volatility on the smaller time frames. When we jump down into our hourly, we just expand this up a little bit, we can see that volatility really working hard. Okay, so the institutions are adding fear into the space, manipulating Bitcoin, and obviously causing a bit of disruption across the entire altcoin market. Now, overall, what you can see here is a pretty interesting downward trend that we are looking to kind of break, right? And again, I don't know if this is actually going to connect all the way over there. Yeah, it is. It's pretty much resonating all the way from over here as well. Okay, so again, this downward trend line that we are looking for is an area that we're looking to break down. Now, when we actually bring this back and we zoom out, this is the original kind of buy area that I had scoped out. This is an area that we were in very, very briefly before actually getting this good surge to the upside. Now from here and here, this is an area that if we are going to be targeting going back into again, is an opportunity to buy up discounted VET and a serious portion of it as well before potentially getting that huge surge to the upside. Now the stochastic is indicating that we should be looking for a push to the upside, but the sentiment just isn't there. We can see that basically during these price pullbacks, the volumes increase, and then as we try to push the price back up on the bounce, the volumes decrease. This is actually showing you that fear exactly in the market. There are more people willing to sell than there are willing to buy. Okay, so right now you're basically seeing traders basically trading this, accordingly, right? And with that fear, trying to shake out those retail investors. That's what you're seeing from the volume perspective, and that's what these patterns in the candles are also showing us. So right now we are looking to push up, but I do not anticipate us moving up in a strong way. I would anticipate we've probably got a high of about 9.2, but potentially pulling back lower than 8.3. Okay, so if we do surge up, then I would anticipate pulling back down to about 8.3, maybe even a little bit lower, and then from there reassessing the situation. The good news is though, guys, that we are getting closer and closer to month end. Okay, so once we're into October, Bitcoin does forecast a good prediction of about 67k from these recent areas that it's been hitting. It's holding quite well at 42. I know a lot of people are calling out 38. It's very possible. It could be one last drop on Bitcoin before it absolutely does go nuts in October. But I think a lot of retail investors are wising up to the regurgitation of old news. And again, I don't think many retail investors are actually getting shaken. Every time some kind of FUD actually launches for Bitcoin and some altcoins, the retail investors are wising up. It gets a little bit less impactful every single time. So overall, everything's looking pretty good. We just kind of need to work our way through the rest of this month, and once we get into October, the anticipation and the expectation is, of course, that Vechain is going to be surging up towards our 786 area of about 23 cents, and then again, that's the cup and handle that is forming there on the daily and the weekly that's looking very, very strong. So overall, I'm very confident, but do expect volatility on the smaller time frames until we can kind of get out of September and into October in a pretty good, strong way. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Keep it nice and brief. If you have found this video useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.